Day 2 of 6. Oh man, I hate 6 day weeks because it's like they feel like they're never going to end, but what can you do? It's work. Hopefully they'll cancel this Saturday, but I don't have high hopes for that because they've canceled so many. Good morning, everybody. Dr. Freedom here with you, and I'm sitting here looking around, enjoying the weather. Sadly, it is going to be hotter than a snake's ass in a wagon rot today. We're looking at a heat advisory from noon on. We're already looking at 99 degrees this afternoon, and that's before the heat index is thrown in. So I noticed, a lot of people are getting the season 22 box set. I said I kind of, fell back on those. Like I said, I'll have to catch it on the rebound. I've been looking at a lot of cool stuff that's coming with it. I know Nicola Bryant was talking about the little thing they shot for that, and Starfleet Command. No, no, thank you. When I was in fandom, I was mainly in the Klingon side of it, but yeah, Time Lash with updated special effects. Too bad they can't update the story. I'm sorry, but the best part about Time Lash was when they ripped the wall down and there was that image of Pertwee on the wall, and that was about it. The very little I can remember. There's the classic Klingon greeting, which of course is Noknech, which is what do you want. Heck, there's very little I can remember. It's been a long time since I spoke any of the Klingon. I used to have that Klingon language lab on CD-ROM, and that was fun to mess around with. I used to remember say, "Where's the bathroom?" Things like that. Then, of course, there's Kapla, which is success, and gosh, I used to know a few phrases here and there of it, but okay, that's reading up there. All right. No, well, the rumor about the Inventor is that's what they're calling him in the scripts. The scripted lines for Neil Patrick Harris was as the Inventor, and they do these kind of things all the time. They were trying to keep under wraps that he was the celestial toy maker, but come on, you've seen the photos, you've seen the toy emporium that he's coming out of. So it's kind of obvious that, I think they're going for the celestial toy maker here. But they'll do that on the scripts and the boards and things like that, so that way, people, because there were people doing all kinds of crazy stuff there for a while. It's one thing if you go to set filming, to watch the filming and, maybe have a glance at the actors and such, but when you've got people who are trying to deliberately get in there and get pictures of the scripts, that's why they do that. I remember back during the 50th, it got so crazy that they actually had that leaked script, and it turns out it was deliberately leaked. I think they put a fake script in the back of a van, and sure enough, somebody ran up, took as many pictures as they could of it, and turned out it was complete bogus script. It was a deliberate typed up mislead. And it's kind of sad, because then the set reporters, the people who show up to the set, get a bad rap for that. Because you have a few bad apples running it for everybody. And I remember because there was a friend of mine who got called a stalker and all this. They're calling him all kinds of stuff. And it's like, they claimed he was stalking Jodie Whittaker, and when all that happened was he came out of the one building where, by the way, he was looking into getting a job there. And Jodie was getting in the back of the one car driving away, and they waved each other, and that was it. Then they came up with this wild story that he followed her and all this stuff. He ended up having to post his GPS data just to say, that's funny because they went that way, I went this way. And it got sad and silly. But then, of course, you have, certain other groups that made fun of the set reporters and all that. It's like, basically, the reason why a lot of people harp on the set, people who go to filming, is because they know if they were anywhere near that location, their butts would be there too. It's just simple jealousy and nonsense. They're just mad because other people have access to something they don't. So now they got to mock it and harp on it and make it and demonize it to ruin it for everybody else. So a lot of sour grape syndrome going on in that field. Then, of course, there was the last day for Capaldi and Moffat and them, and they made up all kinds of silly stories about that. Now there's a big conspiracy theory. Well, there was period filming. I believe it was, I think it was they were shooting for like the mid 1920s or something like that. The cars, the dress, and all, the way people were dressed, the wardrobe, things like that. Yeah, it was definitely mid 20s. Well, yeah, she's very, the Capaldi conspiracy theory was originally they had projected that filming was going to end on a certain date. So a group of the guys got together and they put out this thing, why don't we have an event where we all meet outside the studio, to greet everybody as they come out on the last day. And then the BBC, something that happens once in a blue moon, but it did, was that filming wrapped a day earlier. And on that day, Peter Capaldi came out, everybody came out, Moffat came out, and then it turns out there was a group of the usual suspects were over at the Doctor Who Experience. And then somebody, who was already posted outside the studio said, look, there's people coming out. They've said today is the last day of filming, so get your butts over here. And word spread like wildfire to the gang who was already over there, and they came running over. Next thing you know, it turns out, some of the people who got to show up, who were at the Experience that day, who went to the last day, when Capaldi and everybody else came out to greet him and, share some time with the fans on the last day, were the folks who were scheduling the event. So they were caught with their pants down too. But all the people who couldn't make it on that day, and especially one with the initials MW, started this conspiracy theory that the reason they put out the post to meet on the following day was to make sure they had all the alone time with Capaldi and gang, and that they somehow knew that shooting was going to wrap a day early. And like I said, it was a load of nonsense. It was just literally, luck of the draw. They happened to be in the area and all that. But then somebody, a little entitled, self-righteous butthead, went out there, and I'm shocked this person hasn't been removed from the internet altogether for the sake of Lifekind, made up this big theory that the reason why no, they had no idea that they were going to finish filming early. And that's how that started. They deliberately misled everybody so they could get more, Capaldi to themselves and things like that. And it turns out there was no truth to it whatsoever. It's just, it was, there was no guarantees that day was going to be the final day. It's just, like I said, once in a blue moon, they finished early, and that's what happened. And then, Capaldi came out, everybody came out who was there that day to greet with the fans and the folks who were there. But here's the thing they never mentioned about that day. The people who did show up on the following day, when it was originally scheduled, were given an inside tour of the Doctor Who set. Matter of fact, you remember the pictures of Capaldi's console where it was all scorched? You know, because that's what, you know, after they filmed Jodie's regen scene, was after they filmed, sorry, throat's drying up. It was after they had filmed Jodie's regen scene and the console was still all beat up and burned up. That's how those photos got leaked, was from the people who went the following day, but nobody ever said anything about it. So it's not like they lost out completely, but of course, that's not the story that was told. Like I said, it's just simple, selfish nonsense. Sorry, I've been talking a lot and I ain't got my water on me. I got to go inside here in a minute. So it was just sad all that happened. Because, like I said, I had friends of mine who, you know, were in that particular group, and you know, who were there the previous, you know, on the day they finished filming, and they were demonized. They were basically told they made the whole thing up and all this stuff. Um, I highly doubt Maul's going to be showing up because remember, um, wait a minute, when was that? No, wait, Rebels was after Yavin, so yeah, it could have happened. Or it was around the time of Yavin, so yeah, it could happen. But why? It's like, oh well, folks, I have got to run in. I just looked at the time again, and I got about a minute. So remember today, be kind, be calm, be safe. Feel fortunate for others who have opportunities you don't. Don't feel jealous. There's no point in it. You know, it's, don't let those things eat you up. So remember, everyone, be kind, be calm, be safe. Have a great day. Take care of yourselves and each other. And hopefully we'll see you all in the future. Have a good one.